How's it going, everybody? It's your boy, Homie G, and I'm back. So I'm just sitting here in my class this morning thinking about all the little homies at home who are not going to show up to school today. Why? Well, that reason is anxiety. So my little homies, today we're going to have a little talk about anxiety and how it affects many of you. Okay, so I, first of all, want to let you know that I too suffer from anxiety. I've known about it since high school, okay? Maybe even before. I've had anxiety for a very long time. And it has not been my friend. I'm going to let you know right now off the bat that some of the struggles I had in high school included irritable bowel, meaning I'd have to go to the bathroom. And it sucked going number 2 at school during high school, okay? A lot. And since I ran track, I almost always had to go to the bathroom before a race. Why? Because I was anxious and nervous. So that was a combination. But there were things in school that I would fall victim to. For example, anytime teachers or coaches or anybody said, we're going to do something new, we're going to try something new, my anxiety would just level up, my little homies, and I'd get so nervous, so scared. I wanted to flee the room. I didn't want to be there. And I didn't even know what was going on at the time. Like, I didn't know it was called anxiety. Now I do. And I still, to this day, take medication for anxiety. I have managed this anxiety for a very long time. And so now I'm only down to 5 days a week where I take medication. I don't have to take meds on the weekends, and I also have leveled down my dosage. And let me tell you, I'm pretty good now at dealing with my anxiety. I know exactly when I'm feeling anxious and how to deal with it. But it's taken a very long time. I'm 46 now, so if you can imagine, since high school. And I know a lot of you are going through this right now. And it's really awful because I have seen in my classroom many empty chairs where you're not here in the room learning from me, for example. And in the case of other schools, it is rampant. It is happening all over the United States. Many students not coming to school. Why? Because of anxiety. And it's also called school avoidance. But school avoidance is just the label they give it for what it really is, which is an anxiety to be at school for many, many reasons. Everybody is unique and they're going to have their reasons. And so a lot of it also entails students who are here in class or are at school. What do? They look to go to the bathroom and they take their sweet time, 5 to 10 minutes or longer. And this upsets the teacher. And maybe you get bathroom privileges revoked. But that's also called school avoidance. So my little homies, I have for you some advice and I have some tips as well. Let's first start with the tips. So what I want you to do, if you are a student who is not going to school, first of all, you're not alone, okay? You are not alone. There's lots of students like you. What I want you to do is talk to your folks who are probably very, very frustrated by your unwillingness to go to school. By now, they have probably yelled at you. They've probably cried. Maybe they've tried to restrict you from doing certain things like being on your phone or basically punishments, all to try to get you to go to school. Well, talk to them like this. I want you to ask your parents to talk to your counselors at school and ask for a 504 plan, okay? A 504 plan will allow you to ask for certain things that you can have at school that other students might not be able to do. For example, if you put in an accommodation, that's what they're called accommodations, for a 5-minute outside class break during a lesson, for example, that your teacher is giving, you can ask to step outside. Maybe you feel your anxiety rising. You feel your insecurity rising. You feel like you're trapped. You feel like you got to get away. Whatever it is, you ask for that 5-minute break. The teacher knows that's in your 504 because you've told them about it, or they've been alerted by the counseling team, and they just nod their heads and say, okay, go ahead. And that's what I do. I'm a sensible teacher. I realize that some students need a break from my class. Despite what I happen to be teaching, if I think it's the greatest lesson in the world, it doesn't matter to me, because I realize some of you are not trying to get out of my room because you just don't like what I'm teaching or you think it's boring. Rather, you are feeling very, very anxious. So I'm a sensible teacher, and I will let my students, if they have it's written in their 504 to take a 5-minute outside breathing break, by all means, go right ahead. I also allow certain students with 504 accommodations, because I have to put their head down. And even if, honestly, to me, even if they don't have a 504 plan and they just talk to me, the students, and they tell me this is what's going on, can I put my head down for a few minutes? Yeah, of course. Put your head down. Maybe that darkness where you put your head down puts you in a different place. Because I know being in this space, the setting of the classroom, is what sets your anxiety off. So putting your head down might take you away for a few minutes to recharge your security battery, so to speak, and let you come back after that. Now, don't take a nap, okay? Don't take a nap, because then you're just abusing the privilege. Another tip, stress ball. Take a deep breath. So I have one of these in my class, okay? And sometimes I'm walking around, I'm teaching my lesson, and I'm doing this, okay? To deal with my anxiety, which is not being caused by the students. It's not even being caused by me at work. It's just, I just get it sometimes, okay? So I just start with this, and it makes me level down my anxiety. Mindful breathing. So I've taken some classes at Kaiser. That's a hospital, and anxiety classes, and they've taught me how to breathe from my diaphragm, from down below here, taking a deep breath, picturing myself, visualizing where I'm at and how I'm feeling, where I'm feeling the anxiety, and just getting to know where are the particular points of energy that I have to focus on in my body, okay? And that's called mindful breathing, and you might want to take a class on that. If you can, have your parents, if they have insurance, take you to one of these classes. They're very helpful and helping you deal with your anxiety, okay? Alternative things you could do, okay? Online coursework. If you're in high school, that might be permissible by your school district. They might let you take some classes online. Certain charter schools also are particularly for students who don't want to be in a classroom setting, and they'll allow you to meet with the teacher once a week, take the rest of the week at home doing your coursework there. Now, those are alternatives. I don't promote those because they take you away from classrooms, from school, where you should be at, socializing with your peers, learning to deal with your anxiety. Because this is what we're going to turn the tables now and talk about what you're doing to yourself by not going to school. So by not going to school, my little homies, you're basically training yourself to avoid stressful situations. And let me tell you, life is stressful at times, and you're going to have to deal with stress. And by fleeing, by kind of putting yourself in a shell like a turtle would or a snail would, when there's danger, that is not the correct response all the time. So what I want you to understand is you not going to school is not helping you for the future, for when you're 18 and over, and maybe your parents tell you it's time to move out. You got to deal with life now. You can't be living in my basement as an adult, whatever it may be. Okay? You have to face your fears, bottom line. I had to face my fears the hard way when there was no medication. You know, we're now at a point in our society where it's more acceptable. But back then, it wasn't as acceptable, especially not in my Latino family. Now, I'm not going to speak for all Latino families, but talking about medicating yourself was not something that was conversation at the family table. And I know my mom also has anxiety. So it was passed down, and even within our own family. But there's no talk of that, okay? So now there is more talk of that, and it's perfectly acceptable to be dealing with these mental health issues. And school avoidance is a big one. And if that's you, you have to understand, you have to face your fears, okay? You cannot live in your bunker of a room. And if you're at home and you're abusing the fact that you're at home by being on your phone, being on the computer, playing video games, while your peers are in school learning, shame on you, my little homies, because now you're just saying, yeah, I have this anxiety, this is the real issue, but I'm going to just stay home and have fun. No, that's not how it works. That is not how it works. You have to work with your parents on figuring out a solution that works for you. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not going to tell you what that solution is. I've given you some tips, but you still have to do the hard work yourself. You still have to maybe meet with counseling, meet with a psych, or talk to someone, or figure out what is the triggers at school that cause your anxiety to rise, and slowly but surely start coming back to school. That might be first, setting foot at the parking lot and just kind of being in the car with your folks for a few minutes, just letting the anxiety hit you so that you could talk yourself through it, and then building what's called like a resistance, kind of like an immunity, or building a resistance to a tolerance to being at school again, because you've lost your tolerance. It's gone, okay? And now you can't even set one foot at the school grounds before you start feeling like you got to get out of there, right? So you got to build that tolerance again, my little homies. We want you back in class. All the teachers miss you, okay? So that's been my 12 minutes and going on this very, very important issue of school avoidance that's happening all over the United States. We need you back. I know the pandemic was one of the issues that caused many of you to not want to come back to school. I know the school shootings are also a situation that caused many students not to want to be at school for safety concerns. I get all that, but we have to face our fears. We can't live a life full of fear. I know, okay, because I had lived a life like that, where I was constantly in fear. I grew up in a harsher environment in Eastside San Jose. I would step out of my house and feel like I was going to get violently attacked or something like that. All these thoughts went through my mind, all of these thoughts. And I don't know how I did it, but I learned to be resilient the hard way. And I'm not saying that's what you have to do, because we're in a different era now. You have support. You have a lot more help. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of it and do what you have to do to be ready to be at school. It's not going to be a one-day thing. It's going to be a journey, my little homies. You're going to have to work your tolerance back up, okay? Little by little, until you're able to be fully in a classroom setting again and feel comfortable and feel secure. All right, my little homies, I hope this has helped you. If it has, leave a comment behind. Give me a like on the video. And that's all I got to say. And I'm out. Deuces.